duckies.
Just put that in. Hello, good day, and welcome to the Ducking Review Show. Retro Duck, Episode 2. It's our interim podcast.
Interim's the right word.
Yeah, thank you. I normally get my words wrong. It's our interim podcast in between our main podcast, where we will look at complete films. Films are in their entirety, and as you may already know, it's seasonal, and this season is 80s action films. The last one was Commando. Go back and listen to it. This week it is Mad Max 2, or better known as
The Road Warrior.
I'm Carl, and as always, I'm joined by Matt.
Hello.
And Lee.
Lee. Hello. I'm Johnny.
Lee! Quack, 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 quack.
Hey, there's loads of money down here. And a bean.
Oh, it's my money.
2p.
So this week we are looking at Mad Max 2. As always, available on iTunes and Stitcher, and you'll be doing us a massive, massive favour. If you like the show, please let us know via iTunes and submit a review, give us a comment, and you can also tweet in at DuckingPod. Email in, why not? You know you want to. Tell us what you think at theduckingpodcast@gmail.com, or go to theduckingreviewshow.com, our lovely website, where there's at the moment a video of Jean-Luc Picard dancing. Right, back to the meat, and I think I'm going to hand it over to Lee. Tell us.
Yeah, so Mad Max 2.
Written by, directed by, go.
George Miller, who directed Mad Max 1 and Mad Max 3. He's going to be directing the new Mad Max film. He wrote them all. He's basically Mr. Mad Max.
He is Mad Max.
He also directed Happy Feet.
Oh,
And the second Babe film.
Not
Pig in the City.
Pig in the City. He also produced the first Babe film, and he directed The Witches of Eastwick.
I saw Babe in the cinema.
Did you?
Was that a film or just a general observation?
I forgot to look what
film.
year it
The
came
film.
out, but I think it's 1981.
Oh, Mad Max. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's 1981.
Mad Max. I thought you meant Babe then.
No, Mad Max 1.
Are we going to call it Mad Max 2, or are we going to give it its proper
Mad
name?
Max 2 is its proper name.
Is it? Oh, is it only in America?
It's just America. It's called The Road Warrior. So
The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
So here it is. But in Australia, it was Mad Max 2, and
Which is
that's its country of origin.
Country of origin.
So this was made a couple of years after Mad Max 1. Now, Mad Max 1 was, I can't remember, but at the time it was the most successful Australian-made film in Australia.
Just in Australia or outside it, or all?
Well, probably outside of it as well.
Yeah.
Because,
All. Globally.
like Australian cinema, I mean, kind of, it all really happened in like the 70s and 80s, like really became a bigger thing. And I think Mad Max 1 was the start of that.
Are we including, although actually no, what I was about to say, I'm about to correct myself now, Bad Taste.
That's
New
New Zealand.
Zealand.
And that's like later anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
much
like
later.
Late 80s.
Like, ignore me.
So Mad Max 1, the film that propelled, that was Mel Gibson's first major starring role. And this film is the one that kind of cemented him and propelled him into greater things, because this film had more of an international sort of market. It's Mel Gibson's star-making role.
In which he says, what is it, 16 lines?
He's got 16 lines.
16 lines.
Two of which is the same line.
I'm just here for the gasoline.
Gasoline!
I'm going to see it for the gasoline, mate. Mel Gibson, the other guy who's in it who's worth any notes is Bruce Spence. And he plays a character in this. He is the guy who flies a gyrocopter.
Gyro Man.
Yeah. No, he's actually he's actually in a few things. Is he in
Waterworld?
No, he's in Finding Nemo.
Really?
He's one of the sharks. The one called Chum. It's Chum the shark, isn't it? I think so.
Yeah.
There's them sharks that are like vegetarians. He's one of them.
Because there's Bruce and there's
he plays like a weird alien face man in Star Wars Episode 3.
Right.
And in Lord of the Rings, he plays a black lieutenant. In the third one, you know the guy with the big teeth mouth who comes out the black gate?
Right, yeah.
That he plays him.
Cool.
And he's in Matrix Revolution. He's in Farscape. And he's in Dark City.
Farscape.
He's one of the
Farscape.
he's one of the Baldy men as well in Dark City.
He's also in one of my favourite films ever, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Oh man,
He's one of the poachers in it.
no wonder like he was so familiar to
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
when I was watching it.
Also starring a guy we know from the last Retro Duck, Vernon Wells.
Yes.
He plays he's not the main baddie. The main baddie's a dude in a mask. He
Yeah.
plays the
gimpy one.
He plays the uber desert gimp punk.
Yes.
You
Is
know,
the
the
one with
really
the
crazy one.
mohawk?
Yeah, with the red
Yeah,
mohawk. So that's
yeah.
Bennett from
Yeah.
Commando.
Yeah, he's totally nuts in this, isn't he?
Mm. So Bruce Spence, he's actually in Mad Max 3 as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and he plays a guy with a gyrocopter,
Yes.
but I'm not sure if it's the same character.
That's insane.
Because
Really?
they're listed as different names in the cast. It's called Jebediah the Pilot, and then it's called something else. But right, and what's weird is we'll have to skip a little bit to the end.
Yeah, just
he
go
goes
for
off at the end, and he becomes like
The captain.
leader of their
tribe.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
So he's not the same character. He must have a twin.
It's not
who's
canon.
who's got like
Yeah, it's not canon.
Well, it is canon.
It is though, isn't it? It's the thing.
It's so weird, and it's always been a sticking point in my mind when I've watched Mad Max 3. I thought, is that the guy from Mad Max 2? It looks like him, but there's no alright, Mike, how's it going?
There's no
Long time no see. There's no acknowledgement in the film, and it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, well, the film is mad, right? That's not right. Before we go into a little synopsis of overview of the story, the plot, what there is of the plot, anyway. Let's talk about the first time we saw it. First time you saw it, Lee? If you
It's
remember.
hard to say. I saw it in mid-90s.
Right.
I saw it on TV. Then a few weeks later, I guess I saw that, and then an amount of time later I saw Mad Max 3, and then after that I saw Mad Max 1.
Right. So you darted all over it.
Yeah, I mean
really.
Mad Max 2 is a go-to Mad Max.
Definitely.
Right.
Well, that's what I think now, anyway.
Mad Max 3 is a bit it's just not as good. It's not as edgy. It's not an 18.
I've only got
It's a
very,
15.
very strange memories of Mad
Max
Max
3, it's got more of a budget. It's got Tina Turner in it.
That's where the budget went.
Yeah.
Right, and you can tell it's got more of a budget and it's grander, but there's something really good about the low budget fight to of Mad Max 2.
Definitely.
And the fights, it's so it doesn't. It's all plot. There's not much plot, but it's all driving forward. It's,
Good pun.
do you know what I mean?
There's some sort of coherence.
It's a 90-minute
Yeah.
film, and not a lot happens, but it says a lot.
Yeah, I
in
think
a way.
actually
Yeah.
we'll get to that. It does. I think it does say a lot. Theme-tastic. I think there's lots of themes to pick up on within it that are quite relevant now.
So I saw it in I don't know. I must have been about 15 or something.
And what,
when I
as a
saw it.
15-year-old,
I loved it. I thought it
little
was
lovely
amazing.
Lee, thought it was amazing. Of course he did. Matt, when was the first time you saw it?
About 2 hours ago.
Same.
You'd seen it before,
I
though.
thought I had.
You hadn't.
I don't think I've seen it before.
Wow.
I think I've seen Mad Max 1. Well, I know I have. I know
Yeah.
I've seen Mad Max 1 because when they do the start,
Yeah.
it starts with like a little kind of prequel tale,
Like a
doesn't
montage
it?
thing.
Yeah, a montage. And I was like, well, I've seen all of those scenes. I remember that quite clearly. And I've seen Mad Max 3. Got really weird memories of that. Who would have thought that I hadn't seen it? And I was convinced. I was saying to you, yes, we have to do Mad Max 2. It's brilliant. I hadn't even seen it.
But it
I'd
is-
seen it.
It is
really
brilliant.
good. Yeah, it's
What was
really.
your first impressions then, Matt? It's fresh
Oh, I
now.
loved
We've
it.
just seen
It was
it.
really good.
There we
Yeah.
go. And that is the
Moving
end.
on.
So yeah, shall we do a bit of a plot thing?
I want to go to let's do a little
So
synopsis
the film
of it.
starts off with a narration
Yes.
by a guy saying about what's happened.
Sorry, I want to interject there. It
Go.
does start off with a narration. On the Blu-ray version that we watched, when you start it, you get an option to watch
The
it with
introduction
an
by a dude.
introduction. Is that the same guy that does the voiceover?
Well, I don't
What's
know.
that?
No, he's a film historian.
Oh, right, okay.
Did you not watch it?
No.
No, yeah, because in it says he's a film historian on these little subtitles. So I watched that
right,
bit.
okay.
We didn't have time to watch that because we only had the
2
exact length of the
Yeah,
film.
we had the running
before-
time before you arrived.
Before you arrived, and we lied to you and said we'd already watched it. So
And that lie fell apart.
yeah, I couldn't keep it up.
So-
It was ridiculous.
So yeah, so it starts off and it's got a narration saying about the situation.
Yeah.
And I think it says about, like, it shows this video. Does it show the Mad Max 1 stuff first?
No.
Or the other way around?
It
Does
shows-
it while he's talking about sort of what's happened
Yeah.
with all of like
yeah,
the
because
war and
it
things
shows
like
like a...
It's the death of the machine, isn't it?
Well, they run out of oil, don't they?
Because
This is a
of
story.
War.
Well, I think they're running out of oil anyway. This is what I get from it. Because, like, in Mad Max 1, the setting of that is before the massive nuclear war thing happens, right?
Right.
And I think there's a petrol thing going on in Mad Max 1. It's a long time since I've seen it, but society's breaking down. There's all these gangs, and the thing is they're running out of fossil fuels. That sparks like a nuclear war. Everything, like the proper like Terminator 2 style nuclear war, minus robots.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so that's happens after the end of Mad Max 1. Now, it says a little bit about what happened to Max in the first film. Now, he's basically like a traffic cop,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
but like badass traffic cops. Not like a cop, but there's all these like biker style gangs, and they're like the cops that fight against them. So they've got these like really cool Ford Falcon cars.
Yeah, they look mint.
It's an amazing car, isn't
Yeah,
it?
they
and,
do.
and they, you know, there's a gang in it, and what happens in it? Because I know, like, Matt,
I've not seen it,
you've not seen it, and so what happens is this gang like kill and rape his wife and
horrible.
kill his small kid.
Why does this show always go back to rape? Listening back, it's been in nearly every episode.
Well, you know, I don't know why.
The human condition.
It's in
But
film.
yeah, so these like the films we're watching. It's a
It's the
1980s
films.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is cocaine rape.
So yeah, so that happens. So then he kills the gang, and then drives off into the sunset, sort of.
It's a revenge story.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know the car he has in that then? Is that what he has in
Yeah.
this, but he's modified it a bit?
That is actually right. This is amazing because I was looking into it, and apparently, it's the exact same car. The car
Really?
that gets ruined at the end of Mad Max 1,
Yeah.
right? But someone's like they thought the car had gone, and someone had got the car and done it up and refurbished it, and it's the same car apparently.
Really?
Amazing.
Right, and this is something else interesting because while we're talking about it, like Mad Max gets fairly battered and beaten, and you notice in Mad Max 2, his leather jacket has one arm,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
he's got a leg brace. Now, in the first film, he gets kneecapped, and his arm gets
That was
over.
it. Because Matt was like, and I couldn't remember. Matt was like,
Yeah,
what's with his
he
leg?
gets shot in the knee.
Yeah.
Because they
Right.
never
And
Is that when he
acknowledge
stood
it.
on the road?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he gets his arm run over by like a bike,
Oh,
and all
God,
broke,
yeah.
so they would have had to cut his arm off to get to his arm to the doctor to.
Ah,
sort
right.
it.
The
And he
seam
got
in his jacket.
kneecapped, so that's why
Yeah.
he's like.
He's got like Forrest Gump leg brace things going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
And that's why you said,
Why is he running really weird?
like,
And he
Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Like he's got polio or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that kind of brings us up to the point where the film starts.
Yeah.
And it starts with this action sequence where Mad Max is driving along, isn't he? The car it cuts straight into him going down the street, and there's these bikes and stuff chasing him, trying to kill him to steal his petrol. What this film is, it's a western. It sticks to the archetype of a western, where it's like a wandering stranger comes into a town that's besieged by a gang of outlaws, and he helps them. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, isn't
Typical
it?
western,
That's-
right? Even down to like except it's cars and not like horses, but it's in the desert. You know what I mean? It's a pure western.
And even to the point of like real
That he
western
doesn't even
films
talk.
have that like with the circling.
Yeah, like
yeah.
a wagon train.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally like a wagon train. The whole
Yeah.
thing, and they're trying to get away like in the big lorry wagon.
yeah.
Like, and they're
rig.
besieged by like people with shooting arrows out.
Yeah, bows and arrows.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I did
It's
think
a
that,
total
actually.
like Western,
Yeah.
To its core, isn't it? I mean,
which is cool.
It is really cool. It's
and
very
Brian May did the music.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked this up, right?
Go on.
Because I was like, wow, that's cool. Brian May did it. It's not the same Brian May.
Oh, no, I was really worried you were going to say that.
But apparently he was one of like the biggest or most well-known sort of film music composers from Australia. He died, I think it was 1997.
And just while we're on it, on the subject of the soundtrack,
It was very Star Warsy.
I don't remember the soundtrack.
It's
never
so-
something that sticks with me.
Star Warsy, so Star Warsy. I mean, maybe it's because I sat here watching it with Matt, and but we did look at each other at the same time, and we're
Yeah.
like, Star Wars.
Yeah, there's lots
It's
of
even
John
got
Williams
that-
to it.
I nearly just did, and but it almost has that like string build and like the stabs, didn't it? It had loads of it, and like in the brass.
I never really thought about it. But like the soundtrack isn't something I've ever put any mind
We just
to.
sort of picked up on it. Like
Yeah.
you say, we didn't talk about it. We just sort of looked at each other and said, sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah, it was weird.
There's just tiny little sort of themes in there that keep coming back every now and again, and it's very, very similar.
The orchestration and the use of it,
Yeah.
and it fits for the majority of the film, but there's the odd time where it jars, and there's some real sudden stops where Matt kept thinking an advert was about to come on.
Yeah. It's sort of when the music sort of cut or came to an end, and the film would fade to black really quickly. And I thought, oh, it's going to go into the adverts now. And it did it about 3 or 4
you
times.
know, like the film didn't really get much of a release in America.
Right.
And when it did get released, first one, I mean,
Yeah.
when the first one did get released, it was dubbed into American.
Really?
Yeah, because they didn't think they'd understand all the Australian slang. Now this film is au naturel, and the Blu-ray of the first film that I've got is Mel Gibson talking, and it's a
Yeah.
profit one. But
Do you have the option to put the dubbed on?
yeah, I think you do.
Oh my
Oh,
God, that's amazing. Can we watch
God.
that at some point?
I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want to rewatch the whole thing, possibly ruined.
But like the film gained a lot of popularity in the States through it being shown on like television networks.
It's quite like
Because it didn't get a cinematic release, it might not have even got much of a VHS release. So it's one of these films that kind of a cult thing off the telly.
Yeah.
So maybe the kind of the advert things is how well is this going to do? I'm just speculating.
yeah, but that would kind of make sense in
It
a
sort
way.
of felt right when it did it. Like
Oh,
but
that's
it's been-
where your advert goes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
because it
felt
was like
that.
it was almost like they'd done it in sections where this part we've built up now that you know who this guy is, you know what the story is. Right, ad break, go and have a brew.
But then, do you
it
think
seemed
though,
like
like with that, the film is very definitively split up into like acts.
Yeah, that's probably what I mean. And it works on that.
Some
Like-
of that feels very much like a western. Those fade
Totally,
outs,
yeah.
and
And, so you got
God.
we're going to talk about the plot, but there's definitely part 1, part 2, part 3 to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You got the beginning. Right, so we talk about the beginning. Let's get back to where we were. So there's this really cool chase bit where he's getting chased by some of these biker gangs, one of which is Vernon Wells with his little gimp friend.
Titty man, we call
Yeah.
it.
well, I called him Titty Man.
Yeah, and are they like tethered to each other or something? Is he chained to him?
Oh,
or
they're
something?
he's sort of riding bitch on the bike, isn't he?
Yeah, he just gimps him.
Yeah,
He's
right.
chained him up. They're gimping it.
Yeah, so
and-
he's chained. Yeah,
Do you want to
So-
describe? Can you describe the outfit for me for the listeners?
basically he's got black leather chaps. He's got like a tail of some sort, like
Yeah.
it's built into it that covers his arse crack.
That's all it's for, isn't it?
And then
Yes.
he's got no top. He's got shoulder pads, but no real top.
That's right.
And he's got a red mohawk.
And his bum's out,
Yeah, that's what I
Totally
mean,
out.
leather
Yeah,
chaps.
yeah.
Like chaps
It's
is in what you'd wear when you ride a
assless
horse.
but it's a focus.
But yeah, it's like it's a classic gay thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
they-
a classic leather chaps, bum out, legs covered,
With a little like thong on.
with a little cock piecey thong.
It's
I mean, that's his look, and he's
it's
like,
erotic.
it's weird though. Like this film come out like only 4 years before.
Rocky Horror Show.
No, Commando, and it's Vernon
Yeah,
Wells, and how
yeah.
he was in much better shape in this film.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
loads.
Yeah, he's quite a big guy in it.
Yeah. And the titty man that's his his personal lover.
Bleached
Jim.
blonde man.
Yeah, how will we describe his outfit apart from spectacular?
He
I
looks
can't remember it.
It's spectacular.
He has no top on, does he?
No, what he's got, it's
Is it Kit?
Oh, is it
It's cut out.
Is Fraley from Kiss? It's the exact same leather top that he wears. Where it's almost like
It's got the shoulders.
it's a leather vest, but with all of the middle around your stomach.
It's like
and
an
your
anti-vest.
chest cut out.
So like the opposite of a
Yeah.
vest.
Yes,
It's the sleeves.
it's the vice versa.
You've got the sleeves in the back. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. There's your two characters.
Right, so them two, there's them two. and
Because
there's
it's
a
the
couple of other
apocalypse.
guys, right? There's a couple of other guys who are like in this siege of, they want to get his car and nick his petrol basically, and they're chasing him, and it's an action sequence. We don't need to go too far into it, but it's really cool.
It's
really
really
cool
cool.
chase. I mean, what's cool about this film is the stunts are awesome.
Yeah,
And the
that's
driving's
a big point
awesome.
for me, yeah.
There's a few bits where it's blatantly sped up.
Yeah.
See, I quite like that.
So then, it's because they had to,
To achieve the speed look.
because they couldn't drive that fast because
Yeah.
they were driving off road.
People
And it's like
would die.
Yeah,
I think-
so that sequence. Like, what happens is Mad Max gets away from these dudes, and he ends up killing a couple of them, doesn't he? He's like making them crash, and
Yeah.
one of the guys with a crossbow tries to shoot Max, but he leans back and it goes into Vernon Wells' arm, doesn't it?
He
slams the brakes on
Yeah, he
it,
slams
switches
the
his
brakes.
turbo off with this
Yeah.
funny pull plunger thing.
And he ends up shooting Vernon Wells.
Straight through
Yes.
the bicep.
Yeah, and then you get the shot of him, close-up shot of him pulling it out.
And it's classic Wells, because it's really sexually
Same
sort of weird.
compass.
Yeah, he goes like,
I mean,
it was like the bit in Commando where he's sort of going, I don't need a knife.
I don't need a knife.
And he's just like, he's got that crazed sexual peak about his face. It's really weird.
I mean, I think this is something that I'm going to probably keep saying again and again and again as we go throughout this film. But what that particular bit does really well when he's been shot and he's pulling it out and he's being a nutter. It's the madness in it, and maybe it's in the title.
It's
but
like the rawness, isn't it? The brutality.
Everyone's gone mad.
they're mad as shit.
They've basically gone sort of primal, haven't they? Where there's nothing anymore. The only thing they care about is survival.
I don't think it's even. I think to a degree, I don't think it's even survival anymore. I think it's madness encapsulated just simply by the fact that there's nothing.
Just going
It's
crazy.
the bloodlust, isn't it?
Yes, it's just bloodlust.
When society's rules break down, everyone goes mental because there's nothing there to keep you in check, and man's basic setting is fucking mental, right? And that's why they invent religions. That's what religions were for originally, is to make people behave.
Society.
Because it's like you look
Behave.
at
God says behave.
No, but you look at the Moses story. He goes off up the mountain to talk to God. He goes off for a year or something. Comes back and they're all fucking each other, worshipping weird gods. And he comes back and he's so pissed off. He smashes the commandments down. And they had to gather up the fragments and put them in the ark. Because what's happened in they've been saved by God and did this amazing thing. He goes for 2 minutes and they're all just fucking each other.
I'm just going down the pub for a bit. You'll be right, won't you? Don't do any of that weird stuff. That
Like,
glad you're talking about
he comes back and they're all breaking every single commandment. And he's
Fucking animals.
Like-
but that's basically that bit. Before they get the religion, they're all mental, and this is the same. It's but the other end.
when you're at work and your manager goes off for a bit.
There's a word, there's a
You go a
word
bit
for
wild.
it, isn't it? Isn't it like that whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I forgot what the point
it's
was.
totally worth us talking about that because
It's part of the
That's what
film,
it is.
and there is no society's not giving them the rules. There's no religion. All they've
There's
got
nothing.
is that they want all the petrol.
Yeah, they don't call it petrol though. Guzzling.
gasoline.
Do they?
Gasoline,
Yeah,
but
at
also
first.
gasoline. But there's
Gasoline.
the guy he calls
It's
it's Gyro Man. Oh, we need to get there. We
Right.
need to get there.
You can't tell if it's just because they're all Australian. You can't tell if they're saying gasoline and saying gasoline.
Gasoline.
But they're saying,
Right.
they're saying guzzling.
Guzzle.
Well, that makes sense.
Like, as if the cars guzzle it, so it's
Yeah.
guzzling.
Yeah, I liked
It's,
it.
it's just a bit weird. It sort of catches you out a few times at first. Like, oh, it's a bit odd.
Yeah. I don't know if
But
it
then he
was
says,
everyone.
and diesel. Yeah. And you're like, oh, so that's just the same then.
That's for my wife's car.
No. Well,
Very
that's for the rig, isn't it?
Yeah.
So from that bit, Mike goes away. Then he cuts to him later on. He sees this like helicopter parked up
A weird
somewhere.
jalopy thing, yeah.
And he's gone up to go, what's going on here? Might be able to get some petrol.
Yeah,
there's a snake on it, isn't
the
there?
gyrocopter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
gyrocopter. And there's like a snake on it, like it's meant to kill him, but he like kills the snake. And then this fucking mental man jumps out the floor. He's buried in the sand.
With cotton wool up his nose. He's got 2 cotton wool balls up his nose.
And he's like,
Didn't notice
And
that.
he's got a crossbow, isn't he?
yeah, and he's
like,
got Mad
like,
Max.
"Look, get away.
But Mad Max does the old switcheroo, and it ends up where Mad Max has him as his hostage, and he says, because Mad Max is like, oh, he's going to do something. He says, oh, if you open up the tank, this car's going to blow up.
It's booby trapped his
booby
fuel
trapped his
tanks.
car.
and-
Yeah, and under there's like a knife or something. But anyway, he ends up with the crossbow at the other guy. And also, we forgot Mad Max has a dog. We need to talk about the dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just called
I
Dog.
forgot the
It's
dog.
called
Just
Dog.
called Dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Here we go. It's a good one for you.
I like
that
it.
dog, they got it from a local pound and they taught it for the film.
Yeah.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
But also,
Boom.
like I read, that ended up being adopted by like one of the cameramen.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, you mean it wasn't actually killed?
Spoiler?
Spoiler!
But yeah, he has this dog, and then the dog does get killed.
Yeah, it's got a little nice red little neckerchief on.
Not
Yeah.
that quickly. He doesn't just get the
No,
dog
no,
in
he doesn't
there.
get killed till like
Oh,
towards
I
the
hate
end.
you, dog.
Yeah, he's a little hero, isn't he?
And then he's got the guy, hasn't he, as his little like prisoner,
Yeah.
and he's dragging him around, and he says, "Oh, there's an encampment where you can get gasoline." Then
Loads
you got
of
a
it,
scene like where they're watching what's going on, and there's a complete like wagon
yeah.
train shit thing
It's one of
going
those-
on.
yeah.
Where that gang is encircling this
Yeah.
little encampment. I don't get. Right, if there's a shortage of gasoline, why you spend a whole day driving round and round in a circle
Yeah.
to get all the gasoline? Just stay in
Yeah.
one place.
My first thing, because it doesn't really... The beginning of the film doesn't really set up what's happened previously very well. So, at first, it shows you Max driving his car full bifter. Like, he's flooring it. You can see the turbo going apeshit. You can
Yeah.
hear it. And it's like, hang on, you've got no fuel. Why are you doing that?
He can get fuel because he's cool.
And it even shows you, like, in that first chase bit that we talked about, the reason he's a bit like, oh shit, these guys are following me, I need to slow down here anyway, is because it shows you his petrol dial and it's at, like, 0.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, why are these guys just encircling a camp
It's the same
for
thing.
the sake of it?
I think it's the same thing where it's like, so you're saying, why are they going around the camp,
Well,
burning
they're
all the
doing it.
fuel, and then why is Mel Gibson, Mad Max...
It's cinematic.
Yeah, it's because it's cool, it's within the film, we're going to
Yeah.
let it go. What if the circling around the camp isn't just cinematics, and maybe it's a statement of, we've got fuel, we're powerful, you're not the first group of people that we've, like, we're doing
Taking the
all
fuel
right.
off.
Yeah, it's a power play. We're going to get you eventually.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And
Makes
also,
sense.
it's like it's harder to hit a moving target. They've got like their own weapons.
Got like flamethrower. Again, which seems pointless when there's no shortage of fuel. They use
But they've
bloody
got like no,
flamethrowers.
but
They've
they've
got a
got
mine, haven't
they've
they?
got a fuel mine.
It's
It's a
a
fucking oil
refinery.
well, you dick. we got a fuel mine.
I'm mining down there for days.
Yeah, full of charcoal briquettes or something. Yeah.
I keep finding them down there.
Just full of
Barbie.
I brought up 8 jerry cans this morning in the fuel mine.
So yeah, they've got a refinery, and he's one of them like uppy downy.
It's a oil pump thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an oil well.
They've got a name, them, and I can't think what they're called.
Oil arm.
Yeah.
I heard the name of it like only a week ago
Yeah,
or
oil
2
hammer.
weeks ago, and I've forgotten it. But
I'm
yeah.
not looking it up now.
Yeah, don't bother. But yeah, so there's this
Not.
whole sequence where they're like circling around. There's a bit of an action sequence.
It's not much for
And-
action sequence, is it?
No, well, there is, because them people, like some people leave the compound, don't they? They get chased out by like 3 or 4 of the like cars. 2 of them get caught, but the rest of them do get caught because they come back into it later
You
on.
don't really see, do you? They sort of disappear.
And the guy gets like shot with a bow and arrow thing through his shoulder onto the side of the car.
Yeah, not killed.
They just keep him
just
there.
pinned there.
And then they get his woman and they like brutally rape her.
Yeah.
And it's really graphic, isn't it?
You sort of see it.
Horrible.
And you think, oh god, this doesn't look good. And then because all of the stuff you see is through, it's sort of a
because
weird
Max is
pastiche
watching
thing.
it.
There's like
through
they're watching through binoculars, and there's a sort of almost comedy sketch bit mixed with this awful rape scene where him and the jalopy man, I keep calling it jalopy, gyroscope man. Don't even call it gyroscope, is it? What's it called? Gyrocopter.
Let's call him Gyro Man.
Gyro Man. They're on this hill overlooking it, and you see their view basically. And he's looking through binoculars at first.
I love it.
And then Gyro Man just sort of puts his arm in his pocket and pulls out a like sea captain's telescope.
It's huge.
It's about 4 foot long.
He's totally like Inglorious Bastards when he pulls the pipe out and he's just like,
and it's
gigantic. And then like Mad Max just takes his thing off him and
takes it off him and gives him the binoculars.
But yeah, they're watching it from a distance.
And you see it all through their viewpoint.
I mean, I don't know if you were going to say this, so I'm sorry if I've just cut in, but like one thing I was going to raise about that, I mean, it is a horrible scene, really. And the thing that like tricked me out a little bit was Gyro Man is looking at it through, I think at that point, Mel Gibson's Mad Max's binoculars. So he's just looking at it. And all you know up to a certain point is that this guy is like all the other guys, he's mad. He's probably a horrible person. And you see he's watching the woman, the act, and he's got a big grin on his face, and you're like, God, he's sick. But then you realise
his face drops, doesn't it?
His face drops, and all of a sudden it goes into like just sheer sort of horror.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's maybe a bit
like
more
humanity to him.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to this guy. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, with Max, like,
go on.
His story that he's seen all his family like kind of brutally murdered and awful things happen to them.
Yeah,
and then so he's that's happened before the madness has taken the hold. So he's got this righteous sense of anger to him, and he's mad. But is he mad, like cuckoo mad, or is he just mad, like angry mad? Yeah. Like, what is the madness of Max? And he's seen something that sent him like he doesn't give anything out. He's just, like silent. He's obviously got a conscience, though, and he's seen a woman get the same treatment that his wife's had.
He's almost got like post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, and he goes down there, doesn't he? And he like kills them all, saves a guy, but she dies, doesn't she?
She gets
too
shot
late
with a crossbow.
It's too late. Yeah,
but throughout the whole film, you see that like he's a broken man, isn't he? But his sense of decency is like he's a decent man.
There's some kind of moral compass within him still.
Yeah,
like still there.
Everyone's mad in their own way.
Yeah,
like in this film.
Because I think the point we're going to get to now, which is the next bit, where he will then go into the camp, and things are different, aren't they? They're not dressed in leather; they're dressed in sports gear.
Yeah,
and it's white.
Yeah, that's it. The big difference. You get that light and dark. Light and dark between the, I suppose, outsiders from the wild. They're all wearing like black leather and things like that. Bondage gear,
pretty much,
whips and chains, and then all the people inside are wearing things like white cricket pants.
It's basically right. You know the episode of Red Dwarf.
Which one?
The one where they clone the ship.
Oh God! Yeah,
and you get the bad ship and you get the good ship. Now, Julie, that came after this episode, this film.
Definitely,
obviously, right? Like the look of each lot is the same as the look of what's in that Red Dwarf. You've got the bondage gear mental people, and then you've got kind of people all dressed in white, trying to look all like saintly, almost
angelic.
Yeah.
And they are kind of like what they sort of state, and you find out later on in the film, but not much later, is that they feel like they're society. They are society, or they're trying to keep the torch of society burning. But really, and we know this as the viewers, they're pretty far gone. As well.
They're mad.
Yeah.
Because they're just as bad.
They're more kind of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest mad. And the guys outside.
The guys outside are mad, and they're doing bad stuff, and they know they're bad.
Yeah,
right?
like psychopaths.
The guys who have the oil, and they just want to keep all the oil to themselves, right? They got what everyone else wants.
Yeah, the power.
Yeah.
And they, rather than give it out and maybe stop people being mad, they just want to use it, get to where they want to go, and then I'm going to just talk, because we're going to spoil the film. We're spoiling the film if you haven't watched it. They blow it up.
Yeah, they blow it up.
They don't just leave it for someone else.
And to continue on what you're saying, so they blow up that oil, don't they?
Not all of it.
No, the whole thing.
Not
their
They
reserves.
take their oil that they've got enough of,
and blow the rest
but they
of it.
blow
the mine.
the way to get the rest of that
The
oil
refinery
out,
mine.
So they ruin it for everyone else, and it's like, well, you could
Quite
just
selfish.
leave it. Yeah, it is.
And what's
very selfish.
what's mad about that? I told you I'm going to keep
Mad?
going back to it. What's mad about that is they leave that oil well, fuel well. I want to call it the fuel mine. But they leave that to go to the coast. They go to this place that we kind of, as viewers, get an idea that probably doesn't exist.
It has that kind of feel to it.
Where they're heading to. So they'd left nothing, or slightly more than nothing, to go to probably nothing. The promised land.
Yeah, isn't that the whole thing though? Like you said, you touched on earlier when you mentioned religion. It's like that pilgrimage thing. It's hope, isn't it?
But
you hope you're going to somewhere better. You don't know that,
You
but
do-
you've just got to believe that that's where
but
you're
you
at.
do know they set themselves up somewhere else, because we haven't mentioned him yet, but there's a little feral boy, isn't there?
That's all he's known as.
It is a boy.
The feral boy.
The
yeah.
feral boy.
boy.
It's in the credits. It comes up, and so and so as the feral boy.
And like he's probably not been shown in it yet, because what happens?
I know.
Mad Max comes into the compound, and there is a little feral boy there, and they're all like, "Mad Max, you made a deal with this guy."
You see the feral boy outside of the base.
Yeah. And Max is
All at
like,
the same time.
kind of says, "All right, mate," or whatever, and the kid's like, doesn't say anything. He just goes like, "Rah, rah, rah." So they go into the compound, and they're like, they don't want to out to do with Mad Max, and the guy that he brings back dies.
Yeah.
So he says, "Well, you made a deal with him." Like, because he says, "I'll bring you back for some gasoline, then I can be off." And he gets in, and the guy dies, says, "Well, you got no deal with us, you made it with him.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get out." And they're going
It's
to,
not
like, they
even
chain
that.
him up, don't they?
Yeah.
But then the gang comes back.
Yeah.
And they come back in full force. And
Do they have a name?
No, I don't know.
They're just no.
But
Can
they
we
come
name
back.
them?
But like,
The wildlings.
yeah. What's interesting, what's
Yes.
really cool, like when they come back, is they got like this car, and the other people who were scared, they have them fully like chained to these on these like poles, like Christians being taken out. To
Yeah.
the lions.
Yes, I was just about to say that. You've got witch burning, you've got paganism there, and you've got Christianity.
Romans, yeah.
And you've got like the guy who is the leader of the gang called.
Oh man, it's got a really crazy name. It's like
No, it's like giant dude. I can't remember.
Oh,
what
yeah,
it
you
is.
remember.
Humungo or humongous.
Humongulous.
Humongulous?
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous because I think
Got it
it
written
is.
down.
I haven't, have I?
Is it yeah, it's humongous.
I
or
forgot I
something.
even had notes.
And he's
for
got
while,
like
man.
a burnt face and head and a mask
Well,
on.
you don't really see his face, do you? You only see the back of
Well, you
his
see
head.
the back of his head
and
you
that
see
weird
his eyes.
bulging vein.
Yeah.
It's
And he's
awful.
like built. He's so built.
There's
It's
a bit
huge.
of Matt's. I'm just going to tell you now. There's a part of Matt's notes that I'm just waiting to come out, and it hasn't come out yet. And now is the time.
Yeah.
for it to
I
come
know
out.
which bit he wants.
Yeah, I want this
There's
back.
this whole part that I didn't get until I saw the film. And there's an episode of South Park about farts and queefs. We're going there.
We're going there.
And it ends up in a court battle against why men can fart and why women can't queef. And one of the women's defences is that they can do different types of queefs. And one of them is the road warrior. And it's awful. But it goes something like...
Please.
It
Please
goes,
do it.
"Soon, my pretties, we'll let loose the dogs of war." And then it goes, what's the bit the crazy guy says?
I got actually what he said.
Yeah, because
It's the guy's response where he goes,
I must wait. I must wait.
what is it?
Now, no more talk. We go in. We kill. We kill. Kill, kill, we kill them. They kill us, we kill them. Kill them, kill, kill.
No, that's not the bit, but I know it's what you mean. I'm just wondering what it is. It's after. It actually fits in really well, the part we're talking about. The little feral boy comes out and he's got that crazy chrome boomerang.
Yeah, and he chops off the guy.
He chops up... well, not before that. He cuts off the little titty gimp man's
head.
Like, his
forehead
sticks in his head. And that's his little lover man.
Yeah, he
and
goes
because
mad.
he freaks out...
Nipple man's dead.
He's going up to Humonguloid, or whatever he's called.
Call it that.
And he's just going...
They must wait!
Yeah.
They must wait!
And he starts losing his shit. And that was it. Like, when I saw the South Park episode, I didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
It's so funny.
He's holding him, puts him in a sleep, and then he's going...
They must wait! They must wait!
He might as well just go when he's doing that headlock to him. You're embarrassing me.
Please. Please, you're embarrassing me. Please.
Yeah. I mean, like, the weirdest bit.
It's so mad. So, yeah, it's that sharp thing. It kills the little titty man, as we call it.
It's a boomerang, isn't it?
And
It's
then
a sharpened boomerang.
They chuck it back at the kid, doesn't he? And then the other guy, the kind of like mouthpiece sort of person who's doing all the
like
talking.
an announcer, isn't
yeah.
he?
He catches it, but he just chops his fingers off like sausages.
Clean off.
Yeah. And everyone laughs at him. Everyone just laughs at him because they're all mad.
They're laughing loads.
Yeah.
And then he just looks at his hand and
starts
goes,
laughing.
yeah, it's funny. Why'd I do that?
And then the kid catches it in his crazy chainmail glove.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Then
mine.
does one back into the thing.
Does a backflip, doesn't he?
Well, the weirdest thing for me was when I was watching it with Matt, and that bit was going on, and then all of a sudden Matt just turns around and goes, I know what it means now, I get it. And I was like, what? What do you get? It just started verbatim, that whole South Park bit, with it cracked me up. I had a whole extra part to the film.
Yeah,
for
God,
me.
that's amazing.
I just couldn't believe your
Look it up.
memory of
Yeah,
it.
look it up on YouTube. Farts versus Queefs, South Park. Awesome.
Brilliant.
So
Look
yeah,
it
so
up.
there's another like bit of a fight, isn't there?
Mm.
And then like what happens is it ends. Bit of a fight. It's really cool. The fights are all really cool. But then Mad Max ends up having to like they say to Mad Max that they want to leave and they need to get something to pull their tanker full of fuel away.
Yes.
And he says, "Oh, turns out I saw like just the other day something that pulled that rig."
Just the other day, mate.
Which,
Sort of bloody big
which,
truck,
we,
it's
which we
huge.
do actually see in that first action sequence, don't we? 'Cause he sees it.
That's where, yeah, he meets the bikes and everything, because he finds this big rig, they call it, the front of a lorry, and he's tapping the tank away to see if there's any fuel in it, and then they arrive. But yeah, he's seen that, and that's what he says, obviously, I know where it is. Without me, you've got no way of getting out of here, and these guys are going to attack you. That's his bargaining chip.
Yeah, so then he goes off to do that, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I've got like written down here. There's more of this sort of religion iconography going on when
he's carrying the oil drums like a milkmaid.
They give him the fuel tanks to take, and he's
It's almost like a cross he's carrying.
yeah, and he goes off and he's bearing this cross. Yeah, and I'm just gonna skip back briefly. When Gyro Man and Mad Max are surveying the camp, and it spans like a day and a night, and there's a bit where he eats some dog food.
Yeah.
Mad Max eats some dog food.
Oh, a tin of dog food.
Yeah, and Gyro Man pulls out his own little wooden spoon.
Yeah. But it's so funny. And then like, Mad Max eats most of it, then he gives it to the dog, and then Gyro Man has to get what the dog leaves for
He
him.
just sort of sticks his fingers in and gets like a scoop
Oh,
of brown mush, and he just licks it, and you're like, oh, it's disgusting.
I thought Matt was going to be sick.
That's
actually,
awful.
when he was going...
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It's really good for setting that scene though, like, people are eating dog food.
I've seen someone do it though, and it's awful.
I once upon a time had a girlfriend that was really into animals and things.
Hey up.
And she went to a dog food factory. And I can't tell you why, because I don't remember, but it was something that she did. And when she came back, obviously, did you have a nice day? What was it like? And she said, oh, you won't believe this, but they have human tasters for the dog food. Like, apparently that's just the norm for every dog food factory. an animal food factory. Well,
Feel
dogs
like-
and cats, probably.
Yeah, you have to fill
Yeah.
a little survey.
Yeah.
Would your dog like this? Probably.
Consistency, flavour, chunks.
God.
Bone content.
That is somebody's job.
Oh man.
Their day-to-day is that they taste dog food,
Yeah, well.
which apparently
I hope it pays well.
got written down here as Mel Gibson used to do before he got this role. So he does eat that dog food though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not going to be dog food, is it? It'll just be tin of steak or
You're
something.
probably right, but it really
It looks at
low budget. I reckon Mel
Probably
Gibson
is.
just being a dude, I'll just eat it.
Yeah.
I don't
Give us
care.
that here, mate.
Gives
100
that
bucks and I'll eat this tin of dog food.
Looks
South
like
African.
Arnie Gina's dinner to
That's
me.
near enough.
Which is quite funny because they're eating dog and cat food in District 9. You get that sort of same
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
don't you, with the prawns eating all the
They
cat
love it,
food.
don't
But
they?
then you got like Vickers when he's eating it, when he's a half prawn man.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really reminiscent of that.
Is that that part of is that part of the world? Is that a thing?
All right.
Well,
yeah.
All right. You just...
Africa and Australia are one part of the world.
Oh, faux pas.
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
Is that
I was really
part of the world?
confused there. Well, like, what
That's
about the
the whole-
southern hemisphere?
Yeah,
I'm never going to live that down. Oh, God.
it's quite weird
Can we
though.
take that out?
No.
No. Make that really hard to edit.
But yeah, so you got. So I guess we'll go back to now the scene. Mel Gibson leaves the compound with his crucifix made of petrol.
Yeah.
Goes and gets the big rig.
Yeah.
Then he's driving back, and there's another chase thing as he approaches the encampment that's outside the compound. He drives through, and they all start chasing him.
Yeah.
Now, there's a scene of gratuitous, unnecessary nudity in that bit, isn't
I know
there?
which bit you mean.
Where he's driving along and
sort of
a
whips
car
the tent.
goes past the tent and pulls the tent up, and there's just like unnecessary boobs, like 80s style.
It's almost like a carry-on film.
Yeah.
Where
It
the tent-
really is. That
It probably
bit.
goes like, whee!
And it kind of cheapens the kind of nudity that's earlier on. You
Yeah,
know, when the
that's there
woman with
for
the
a-
rape scene, and then
Yeah.
you get this like bit of nudity that's not necessary, and it's another bit of boobs in the film, and because it's just like boobs, that kind of cheapens the boobs earlier when it's horrendous because she's being raped.
Yeah.
We counted in the whole film, you only ever see 3 pairs of boobs.
I think it's 3 or 4, I can't remember.
I think
Was
it's
it
only
3?
3.
But one of
There
them
was,
was,
there was
a
almost
picture.
4.
Why
One
were
of
you doing this?
we just sort of noticed.
80s
Because it
action
was
film.
80s action, we were looking out for these,
Boobage.
standard things. So there's the terrible rape scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
Gyro Man's...
That was way too cash.
I didn't want to sort of talk about it again, it's awful.
It's horrible.
Gyro Man's gyrocopter has
Yeah.
a woman, a naked
Yeah, the
woman, sort of
propeller.
airbrushed on the side.
Yeah,
And then there's this bit.
yeah.
But I think like Lee's right, and what I'll just add here is that you've got sex in bad taste, if you like, but it's a part of that post-apocalyptic world, and like it is a part of the film. It's with it, and you can understand why it's in there. It's not just
Yeah.
gratuitous for the sake of it. In fact, it's not even gratuitous. It's just horrible.
You see
Yeah.
which bit we talking about?
The rape
Rape
scene,
scene.
yeah,
Oh, right,
and
okay,
and then there's the bit with the gyrocopter with the boobs on it.
Which is kind of
And-
like a World War II playing with a pin
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
got there. Yeah, you got there just before me, and so that's with context. But then that carry-ons movie bit
It's-
where he
it's
just
a little
whips
bit
it
weird.
away.
It's one of
Might
those
as well be
things.
Sid
The thing
James.
is, though, when I was a little 15-year-old kid, that was like probably my favourite bit. Look, there's boobs that I don't have to feel bad about seeing.
You're
Awesome, you know.
You're hardwired for that, aren't you?
Yeah,
at
it's-
that age. I mean,
But so that bit, it always stuck with me. That there's that bit with the tent, but now when I see it, I'm like, wow, that's just so not necessary.
yeah, I
And
agree.
it totally
yeah.
takes away the good work of Well,
Everything
I suppose
else.
it's still part of that world, though, isn't it? That people's.
But it was unnecessary. You couldn't assume
You didn't need
that
to see it, do you?
stuff's going on. I mean, it was a bit.
But yeah,
pointless.
so at this point when he's driving back into the compound, you see the big gun of her mongoloid. What's he called?
we don't know. We're calling him different names.
Humongoloid.
Humongulous, I think
That's
it's
it.
called.
Yeah.
Humongoloid. Oh, we apologise for these,
any offence caused.
Freudian slip there.
Yeah, I think that was pretty accidental. So
Easy mistake.
But yeah, he gets that big gun out, doesn't he? That's like shoots the front of the tanker, like
Yes.
just blows it up virtually. Then blows out all his engine.
The cleanest gun ever in a desert-based apocalypse.
But where's he got that gun from? That's
well, it's
something.
kept in a little wooden
There's
box, isn't
pictures in the picture of like a family in there or something.
yeah, it's a special gun. Yeah,
Do you
looks
think
like-
that was his dad's gun or something? Like,
I think it does.
to me, that says that little bit of dressing on that prop gives it like a whole backstory.
It had so much importance. I mean, we're talking about the Magnum
with the sniper
with
scope.
the completely unnecessary sniper scope.
What-
You would never attach a sniper scope
The thing is,
to a Magnum.
you have to remember
like
this is based in the outback in Australia, isn't it? Obviously.
Mhm.
And if a family had been there at some point, chances are they might have had a gun just in case, I don't know, some
Cowboys.
beast attacks or something.
But like, you know,
Loads
they
of
had like
reasons.
cowboys and stuff, didn't they?
that. Loads of
the
reasons
outback.
to have a
Yeah,
gun.
yeah,
Yeah, loads of reasons.
And like you say, it's really, when you see it, it looks brand new. It's always been kept in this wooden
And it's
case.
got like, you can see there's holes for like 50
all the
bullets or whatever.
different parts and things.
there's like
it's really
8 bullets left or something. So he's
Yeah.
only got a finite number of shots of this gun.
I think I think genuinely that
It's like
gun is known as a display gun. I think it's a show gun. Those guns with those kind of boxes and that kind of presentation case are
So do
actually
you think-
not known as they're not your day-to-day use
Yeah.
weapon. It's just
Do you think that he's looted that gun or it belonged to him though?
Wow.
That's the thing, because
I don't
that's
know,
the
do you?
thing makes me ask that question, like, because he's looked after it, and like
he's still precious with it. If he looted
Yeah.
it, would he be that precious?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, would you keep it in a box?
Yeah, he'd just be
With
waving
all
it
of, like,
around,
the regalia
just
with
shooting
and
it,
stuff.
and it's kind of adds this level of humanity to this character that you can't see his face because he's got like a hockey mask on.
But it also develops to which you might have been about to get to anyway, about the madness of it. You've got those little touches of like, glimpses to a
Like
past.
he's
Like,
got
the
a
whole
past.
world's gone
Yeah.
like mad. Basil's going to look after this gun.
Yeah, which
Really look after it.
it's nuts.
Yeah,
That's
called
it.
Charlene.
Yeah. Well, that's like you say. That could be his only link back to his past, to his family or whatever.
He's one piece of humanity and he's using it to shoot a lorry.
Yeah. Anyway, back to that.
So so there's that scene, and then he goes back into the base. Then they give him his petrol, and he's on his way, isn't he?
I was meant to mention this earlier. Now when I'm looking at what I've written down, I'm not sure, but at the time it really felt like it. The base or the
Encampment.
fuel mine.
Yeah.
I want to
Compound.
keep going. The compound. For me, like it had a touch of the Lost Boys to it from Hook. There was, Peter Pan. Rather.
Yes.
There was an element of like the Lost Boys. Like they're kind of like trapped children,
Yeah.
aren't they? In a way.
There's bits in
Well, it's like
later on when they're under siege from the wild people, whatever we're going to call them.
Wildlings.
Wildlings, we'll stick with that. That really reminded me of that, where he sort of swings, what's he called? I forgot his name already. The guy that was in Commando.
Vernon Wells.
Yeah, where he sort of gets
into the
and he
base.
sort of swings up all of these like posts and
Yeah,
things
it's
and climbs
very
up.
swashbuckly.
Yeah, and it's very sort of piratey, and it made me think of Hook. The film
Us,
Hook.
me and you both thought independently the exact
Yeah.
same thing. Makes you feel a little.
Which is that scene. that scene is actually following on from when the lorry comes in, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's-
They're
yes.
getting and
We're doing good at this. We're linking it together.
we are.
I mean, it's quite funny. I'm going to touch back while we're talking about like the weirdness of the society. Like, you know, like the gyro man. He ends up somehow pulling this young woman.
Yeah, we
Matt
say
aged
young.
her.
She looks about 16. She
Yeah.
looks so young.
Yeah. But then that's that society, isn't it? Like, there's no laws.
Yeah,
This is
That's
times.
it's that kind of
Yeah.
well, like,
And
like
she's,
say medieval.
you
that
would
would have been
assume that the
silent.
actress would be at least 18. But you don't know how old the character's meant to be.
No.
I think Matt's right. I think the character was young, maybe younger than 16, and like
But, you know, and she's fully like... Her dad, because her dad's there, isn't he? And he's
Yeah.
fully willing to like give her to this guy with the flying machine because he knows that he'll be able to fly her out there.
because he says, "Do you suppose this machine could take 2 people?" To
Yeah, it
Gyro
does.
Man?
Yeah.
And
he
Gyro
goes,
Man's like,
I hope so.
yeah,
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Or,
It is a pervy look.
yeah.
it is a
He
pervy
sort of
look.
looks at her and goes, yeah, I hope it will.
But she's dubious. She's not sure. But then later on, I guess we're skipping ahead a bit.
Well, we're at that point now.
Yeah, but she seems on board.
Yeah.
She's on board.
She's on board.
She's on board with the whole thing.
Law reference.
I guess something that we've also mentioned a little bit is the sort of there is within the symbolism and sort of like the themes. There's a few stages of human society within it, and that you've got feral boy, which is like this sort of primeval sort of like cavemen, Neanderthal sort of like aspect to it. There's medieval themes throughout as well. And I guess it's this regression.
Well, yeah, it's that sort of,
well, that's
like
you
you said,
take
the breakdown
away
of society.
all the comforts and man will regress into madness. And, you know, that is the theme, isn't it, of the films, I guess.
Yeah,
there's an environmental sort of messaging there about, like, fossil fuels and stuff, which is the catalyst for the madness, I guess.
You've brought it up. Let's go there. In terms of like environmental factors, and it is all about the breakdown of Western society, isn't it, as a whole, and the sort of reliance upon fossil fuels. Is this film super relevant now, maybe more than it was then, and now we're seeing another Mad Max film?
Well, there's another Mad Max film coming out.
That's what I mean,
and
yeah.
It's still relevant, and I think, like, the difference being that we're not going to need a nuclear war to turn this planet into a ball of dust.
We're just doing it anyway.
It's just going to happen, isn't it? You know?
Well, it feels like that.
Yeah.
At some times.
You know, and this is like a film from nearly, you know, it's 35 years old, nearly, and, you know, didn't know as much about global warming and things, you know. So to get into this situation where it's like the world has gone to pot, maybe it takes that thing of, well, it needs a nuclear war together, because at that time we had a Cold War.
Yeah.
There was a threat of nuclear war. Now, there isn't really a threat of nuclear war, but the threat to us is ourselves and what we've done to the planet.
And that's why I was kind of like wanting to touch on it.
That's what you're grasping at.
Yeah, but I mean, like, simply because, like you say, the amount of time that's passed since that Mad Max 2 and 3, and if we're going to go that way, into now, and it's this new Mad Max film. It's written by the same guy. It's directed by the same guy. He had an obvious message in those films, which in a way was sort of ahead of its time really, that we can retrospectively recognise now. And is this and I know we're sort of jumping ship here and going to a different film, but we should address it. Is he going to like deal with these themes and these ideas, or is he going to abandon it completely and just be it's a blockbuster film?
I think that it's a continuation of the same story.
Yeah.
It's not like Mad Max
4.
No, I think it is Mad Max.
Do you think it's going to be Max?
It looks Max bad.
Because they're giving it like a, Mad Max Fury Road. It's got like its subtitle. If they were going to reboot it, they'd just call it Mad Max.
Yeah, and
I suppose.
It does.
And it's the same writer / director. It's the same guy who's written and directed it. So there's no reason why he would be involved in a reboot 30 years later. Or maybe they would. But like, to me, it's like they just recast Mad Max, James Bond style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Mel Gibson's too old. I'd love Mel Gibson to be in it.
I'd love that.
As Max.
So much.
He could. I think he'd still be able to pull it off.
Yeah, of course it would. It's only
He'd
like
be a lot, obviously, a lot
60.
older looking.
But then that's fine, Like he could look 60 and be 40 because he lives out in the desert.
Weathered.
Yeah. It totally makes sense.
Works.
Another thing that I was interested in is he also did the third film, obviously, and which is kind of it is panned to a certain degree. Is there? I position this question to both of you. Is there a risk that this new Mad Max film will be a return to the third one, or is it a case of he's probably learnt what went wrong there and he's bringing it back to what was maybe the best one, Mad Max 2?
You see, Mad Max 3, the chase at the end of Mad Max 3 is awesome. Like all the cool stunt stuff in Mad Max 3 is really good. It's just not as good as Mad Max 2. Because it's not as raw and hard boiled kind of. I don't know if that's the right word.
No, I think hard-boiled is actually.
It's kind of like
I like that.
What's Mad Max 2? What's so good about it is it goes from point A to point B. There's a bit around the periphery of the film that gives you an insight into the world, but really it's like this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens, and that's your film. That's its strength, you know. Another
strength for me, which I've only seen today, but no, I've seen the first and the third. That my general feeling, my overall appreciation of this film, and the reason why I perhaps really loved it was the atmosphere it created with you of madness. And I said I'm going to keep going back to it, and it just feels like insanity encapsulated perfectly within a film. Like the world. It really gets that across to you really well. And I know from watching Mad Max 3 and my memories of it, that's gone. There's a different kind of weirdness in Mad Max 3 that I just didn't like.
But yeah, so there's a person in charge of this society, and it's about power and what that does to a person. So it's a different story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like a different side to the same coin.
Yeah, it's just a different story, and it's just not as good.
Yeah.
And
so, I suppose we're just going to quickly wrap it back to my original question is, do you feel from what you've seen of the trailers for Mad Max, what we'll call it the fourth film, do you think it's going to be playing to the strengths of Mad Max 2?
What I like about the look of the new film and how it looks, and from what I've heard about it, is that they're sticking to that same thing. We're doing our own stunts when we can. Like, we're going to do this for real. And I just see that as a really good thing. It doesn't tell you anything about the plot. It looks more mental than Mad Max 3 did.
Yes.
There's obvious madness going on.
Yes.
Like, there's that guy going, I want a beautiful die!
Yeah.
You know, and he's got filed down teeth or something. I don't know. He's got weird mouth. It's mad. And you got a bit where there's some dude on a stick.
Yeah.
Like there's a car driving along. Is it Mad Max tied to top of a stick with some sort of muzzly Hannibal Lecter crossed with Optimus Prime muzzle?
Yeah. What a mix! Yes,
you know, that's what it is, isn't it? It's kind of like Optimus Prime shape. I'm doing the shape of his mouth from the cartoons here, not from the films.
Lee's drawing it out over his face, what the mask looks like.
With K80ness to it.
Yeah.
And it's just these guys, I don't know what it is. It looks bonkers.
Like Mad Max 2 on steroids.
It looks like it's mad.
It's mad.
It's mad.
Because it's so vibrant, though.
It's really full on.
And I love the music they've chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to fit the vibe, I suppose, is the word.
Yeah.
It looks authentic, I was going to say. That's a hard word to use and define properly.
Oh God, we're not going to go down the definition of authentic, but I do think that is a word that works with this. Yes.
When you're saying related back to 2, it does. It has that same look, I think.
Yeah.
Because even looking at the costumes and everything like that, they've got that sort of same, almost not quite as gimpy, but it's very wastelandy.
Well, it's done with a budget now, though, isn't it? This is the difference. They got it's a big studio film that's got a budget. How mad are they going to go? They better not make it a 12. It better be a 15.
I think they'll go 15.
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
This Mad Max 2 probably nowadays is about 15.
Yeah, probably.
Well, it's an 18.
Checked
it's still rated on.
I mean, it's got the graphic kind of rape scene, which maybe makes it into an 18.
Yeah, I think normally that
sexual violence makes a 15, especially if it contains nudity.
There's dismemberment in it, but that's not normally.
You get worse.
Just his hands. And...
It's pretty messed up. I mean, so far from my point of view, the trailers have excited me a lot, and it re-triggered a lot of memories of. Well, I thought I was remembering Mad Max 2, but I obviously wasn't. But the Mad Max trilogy and all of that, and I guess that's something I'm really excited about. I suppose we've probably spent a bit too long talking about the newer film now. I don't know. It's something that I think is worth mentioning. I think we're doing the 80s action thing, but I think like we'd be kidding ourselves if we didn't admit that, you know, that like a part of choosing this film was that there's the new Mad Max film coming out, and I wanted to address it and talk about it. So I suppose if we switch back,
where are we?
We're going to switch down again.
It's basically we're at the end.
We're at the end
Yeah.
now. We might as well skip to the end. It's the whole scene, though.
The film starts now.
Basically, yeah. So they've gone back. They've got the tanker. Right, it's time to go now. We're going to move off to the promised land, as it were.
Everything that it's been building up to, and like,
No, wait. No, we missed the scene.
go on.
So Mad Max brings a big rig back. He gets given his fuel to leave, and he leaves.
God,
And he gets his car. He gets almost killed, doesn't he?
Oh shit! Yeah.
They get his car. They crash his car as he's trying to get away. They kill his dog.
Oh no, we're going way too quickly over this. Just this whole scene. I think I know why I just erased it from my memory, because it was too
It's
insane.
so
It's awful.
There was 3 things that happened in this scene that really, really disturbed me. Right, really disturbed
I think
me.
I know what all 3 are.
Yeah, his car gets wrecked.
Yeah.
And I
That's
love
one.
that car.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson looks
Wrecked.
bad. Yeah, he gets smashed up badly and pretty much was pretty close to death. And they kill his dog.
Yeah. The worst part of that is he's got that shotgun, hasn't he, that he's finally got shells for.
Oh yeah.
And he's got it, and he's trying to put the shells in, and he drops them, and they all go everywhere, and then you just hear, and the dog goes, oh,
Yeah,
And
you
you're like,
see it.
oh, he's
It's
dead.
one of those,
Is it
your
this-
imagination's worse than the
Yeah, of course.
actuality of it.
Is it this scene with the massive car accident crash bit? Or is that
No, he gets, like, they managed to knock him off the road.
No, what I mean is that stunt we mentioned. I might not.
No, that's later on. It's in the climax bit.
But yeah, so they're about to kill Mad Max, and someone's trying to nick his fuel, and the fuel has a thing on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Little do they know.
Which it's already been set up earlier. So,
Booby traps. It's been
It's
set up a
booby
few
traps.
times, actually,
Yeah.
hasn't it,
Yeah.
throughout the film, yeah.
so that blows up. What's he called? The character's called Waits, but he's called Vernon Wells. So Vernon
Yeah,
Wells is
Vernon
watching.
Wells.
He thinks Mel Gibson's dead now, because he's seen it all blow up.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is dead, and Mel Gibson's left for dead.
Yeah.
And then Gyrocopter Man comes in and takes him back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
he
the compound.
Sort of re-establishing a second hero. We've always been wondering about Gyro Man.
Yeah.
Well, he always says, doesn't he? He's like, oh, you can't break
Yeah.
up the team.
Yeah, and Mel
It's like-
Gibson's like,
Go away, man.
rack off.
Yeah. Who are you?
Has he got, oh god, no, it's not Munchausen's. It's, where you fall, you gain a respect for your...
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm Syndrome. You gain
for
like
your
a respect
captor.
for your captor, yeah. And like, so Mel Gibson's had him as a captor for ages, and
It's
then all
just
of a
like,
sudden,
I love him.
yeah, he's like, I never want to leave you.
Well, it's more the other way around. Mel Gibson was the captain for longer.
Yeah,
So the other guy who...
really? No, I don't think so.
Well, Mel Gibson is under his control for about a minute of the film.
yeah,
And then for about 20 minutes while they're scoping out that compound, Mel Gibson is the captor.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. He's got him chained up. He's giving him the food after...
yeah.
after
He chains him up.
takes his
He's the captor.
telescope
Yeah.
off
Mel
him.
Gibson's the captor. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
And
sorry.
he is the captive.
Yeah,
Yes.
misheard you.
So
Apologies, listeners.
So it's weird that they've got that weird bind, isn't
Yeah.
it? That he's
Yeah.
respectful and also like
I think
dedicated
though,
to
I
him.
think that they're in a situation where there's this compound of like weird people who have all the fuel. There's this gang, and these two are just 2 dudes.
kind of like misfits in a misfit
Yeah.
world, but like,
Like they're 2
weird.
loners who are teamed up.
Yeah, because they are just like, he's obviously just a guy that goes around in his gyrocopter,
Doing whatever.
pilot wing style, and Max just goes around in his car.
Yeah.
So Gyrocopter Man comes in and takes him back to the compound.
Yeah, back on point. Yeah.
And then it's decided like that the main guy. We're not talked about the main guy from the compound because he's pretty boring.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
not-
like him.
He doesn't
I
really
don't
do much, does
particularly
he?
like him. He's
My friend doesn't like you either.
he'll be dead.
Well, yeah, he will
He
be.
will be dead.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. 1 pint of blue milk, please.
We've got Star Wars again.
Just for me, there is no podcast about Lee and his impressions.
Onwards.
Anyway,
Right.
so what
He was going to go
decided,
again then.
is that the main compound man, he said, I'm going to drive the fuel tanker.
Yeah.
But then Mel Gibson says, look, I'm going to drive the fuel tanker, mate. Even though he's in bits.
Do you know why? Because you know when he tries to convince Mad Max to drive it, and he's going, "What you got? What you got in this life?"
Yeah.
Kid doesn't talk like that, but he says, "You know what? What have you got? You've got nothing.
Yeah.
We've all been through it, but we're society here.
Yeah.
We're clinging on to things, and he's not interested." But then his dog dies.
Yeah.
But then he has nothing.
Literally has nothing.
Yeah.
That's his car's gone, his dog's gone. It's his only
Yeah.
thing he can get is hopefully making it to somewhere with these people because he's got nothing, he's in bits.
That's his drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think there is a readjustment there. It's worth
Because his
right.
dog's dead, his car's gone, he's got nothing at all.
Yeah.
So he has to do it. He's in a corner now and he's on the way out. He said, like, look, I'll drive the rig.
He's got no option, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else left.
So, he drives the rig.
Yeah.
Hey, we're now going into final scene, which is a long one, but
About
it's,
20 minutes long.
I like to call it Rig Town, and it's
Rigs!
big rigs, Rig
Riggs
Town.
and Murtaugh.
Rigs! This
We're
scene-
not too old for this shit.
We are not too old for this shit, and this scene is amazing. Like the whole film
Yeah.
is building up to it, and we've got this scene. And this scene is beautiful.
That's where the budget went.
It is where Matt turned round to me and said, "Do you think that the main reason why this film came about is because they were like, well, we've got a load of stunt people. Let's just make a film with stunt people as the
Yeah.
actors, and then they can
I
all
just
do
said
the
that-
stunts themselves."
I said, yeah. It must
It
be
looks
like
amazing. It's so good, isn't
the
it?
whole cast, apart from Mel Gibson. Well, Mel Gibson.
It is just Mel Gibson.
Seems to be stunt people.
Yes.
Because all of the shots...
Vernon Wells.
You can, and Vernon Wells. You can see most of their faces while they're doing these things.
Although Vernon Wells does a fair few stunts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
mean.
We're
Well,
not
there's even
taking away.
bits. There's the bit where they're driving the lorry down the road, and he's got the woman, the white armor woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
cricket
on
lady.
there, cricket lady,
Yeah.
and man with no legs.
Yes.
He's on top.
Mechanic.
Nobody will mention
Yeah,
this.
but they're quite minor roles. If you watch the film, you'll see them.
If you've made it this far into the podcast, congratulations.
Yeah, he's done well. So he's driving along the road, and then inevitably they get attacked.
Yes.
And I think the first thing that happens is they manage to sort of fire a arrow into the door that's on a rope, and
Oh,
they rip
yeah.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And when
grappling hook.
The
And when
little
they do
feral
that-
child's in the lorry as well, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. He's there. And they do that, but when they do that, you can see it, that it is actually Mel Gibson that's...
Oh, yeah.
It looks like he's, driving it.
It looks pretty much like he's just driving a truck. Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's like some amazing editing where they've cut it, but
No,
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
he's
you can
doing it.
see him
He's
driving
doing
it.
He's
And
doing
the door
it.
comes off,
Yeah.
and you're like, that shit's real.
Yeah, and there's... I don't know. Maybe what we should have done is just spend the whole podcast talking about
I mean,
this one
what we
scene. 'cause
can't
it's probably
do-
an hour's worth
We
of
can't
conversation
talk
here.
through this scene.
Go on, because you're right. We can't talk
there's
about
no
this
point,
shot for
'cause-
shot.
'cause
Too
it's
much.
too much happens.
And I didn't write it down.
Nor did I.
But this is
Obviously, that's how good it is.
No.
We
Yeah.
didn't
You
know, so
don't
we just
need
watched
to.
it.
It's amazing, and like it's the classic ending sort of chase scene writ large. You know, there's this. And it's so weird because it's a siege on a vehicle, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all died. The people who were guarding it from the tanker, so man with no legs, and
I've got a quick
Come on.
question for you.
Yeah.
Lee. How does this fit into the Western thing? Because I think maybe it does, but you...
It's a stagecoach.
It's a
Yes,
stagecoach.
it's the stagecoach.
It's a stagecoach.
They're trying to ride out of town.
And they're shooting
and
bullets.
getting
They're shooting
followed.
it with harpoon guns,
People
arrows.
trying to mount it,
Yes.
and all that. They're hanging
It's
off,
totally-
they're falling off,
Right, it's
getting
totally
dragged by the
like-
horse. It's all like classic stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's that guy
What
that
year was
flips
it?
under
1981.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
year that Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost
I was
Ark
about to high
came out.
five you then, because I just feel like an urge to do that whenever you mention Indiana Jones.
But like, if you look at this scene, like the scene in Raiders where the Ark's in the back of the lorry, people are trying to get on the lorry and climb up the lorry, and people get chucked out the front window and stuff. This is total like they came out in the same year.
It's very,
Like, so, you know, one hadn't seen the other one, but they're both very reminiscent
Very-
of like a stagecoach sort of siege. More so in Raiders with the fact he's gets to drag along the back bit, but you know when he's holding onto the back and he's
Yes.
being dragged along the floor. Classic Western.
Mad
But
Max takes it to a different level.
like, just in a different way, and I think this doesn't quite compare to the scene from Raiders.
Because it's better.
Because Raiders, that's like... Raiders is better.
Harry Hill moment. There's only one way to sort.
There's only one way to sort this out. That's all wrong, Carl. That's all wrong. But
Anyway, back to this film.
yeah, so there's this amazing chase scene, amazing stunt work. Like
Amazing stunt work. Yeah, you pointed
Like-
that out. It is brilliant.
the scene we mentioned where the guy crashes.
Oh, he's on a motorbike, and he crashes into one of the cars that sort of veers off. And as he hits it, his bike lifts up. And I presume what was supposed to happen was he was just supposed to go over the top and fall to the floor. But he hits it so quick, his bike flips up and throws him through the air. And you see him cartwheel towards the camera really violently. And it looks so cool that you think, that's the most realistic dummy I've seen in my life.
But that was actually a stunt gone wrong.
Yeah, and they left it in because it looked so brilliant.
So do we?
He didn't die.
didn't die.
Do we know that for
He
sure now?
definitely didn't
Yeah,
die.
Because when it happened, I looked at Matt and I was just like,
Died.
wow. Wowzers!
No,
Yeah, we said
no,
that is cool.
He didn't. He broke his leg.
Broke his leg, yeah.
Sugar. What's hard to describe is that he's fully
Straight.
In the air.
Yeah, he's like stood upright. Might as well just be on tippy toes, reaching up for the stars.
Yeah.
Just that
Flipping
position,
over. Yeah.
flipping. Like I don't
About
know how
4
many
times.
Yeah, 4
It's
times.
crazy.
It's
It's so fast.
And it looks so real, and it looks so brutal, and it does add something to it. I can understand why they.
It's realism, isn't it? Because it is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's like I suppose
He
the
couldn't
rest
have done a
of the stuff,
retake because the guy snapped his leg off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's horrible.
That's all of those parts with the chase scenes and the cars and when they're climbing around them. You can see that it's the actors climbing around on cars that are moving.
Yeah.
And that's what again, it adds to that rawness and the sort of visceral feeling of it. That it's because you know that the whole time there's a lot of danger.
And I feel
people
like
could die.
this
You don't
brings
get
back
that
to
now,
Lee's
though, do you?
original point of like the Western thing, because they did their
Yeah.
stunts and they
Same
did
stuff.
those stunts and they did climb onto these trains at high
People
speed.
got
and
hurt.
people did get hurt and like I don't know.
So basically,
it's
yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just this amazing chasing, and there's not much. There's no point trying to describe it.
We've just
but,
tried.
Yeah. Just
like,
lots of stunts.
It basically ends with the fuel tanker being
Flips over,
flipped
isn't it?
over, and it turns out in the fuel tanker it's just a load of sand,
Just
and it was a
dust.
diversion.
I love
and
it.
basically, like I'm coming back to the Christ-like thing, he's like the sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Yes.
like he's the sacrifice. This guy.
But not like.
No,
is this
yeah.
what you're about to
No,
go on?
it's not as Christ-like though, in the way that when he gets up from the crashed car, he goes over to the valve and he runs his hand through the sand, and you sort of think, he didn't know.
No, he doesn't know.
That's
but
what I
they've
mean.
sacrificed him.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
sacrificed.
He hasn't sacrificed himself.
That's more. I don't even know what. I was going to
Sending
say
him to the lions, in a
paganism,
way.
but it's not paganism. They've sacrificed him.
Yeah.
Like-
On the altar, like some
Yeah.
goat. And then
But-
slit his-
but it's quite funny though because the main guy goes out as the escort and ends up getting killed.
Yeah.
So you know he would have driven it, so he was willing to do that to himself.
That's true.
Yeah,
Main
that's
guy
true. That's
was.
very true, actually.
And there's a certain element.
And everyone who
of,
went on it, everyone who went on it as a guide, they'll have been in on the thing.
Yeah, and there's a certain element of like, yeah, okay, so Mad Max, like, he puts his hand under the outlet tube of sand pouring down onto his fingers, and he didn't know, but Gyro Man comes round again.
Well, yeah, because he's been there, and he's
Yeah.
He's been doing it.
He's been crashed because the guy with the big gun shoots him down.
Oh,
mate,
that
we've not
bit's
touched on the
brilliant.
best bit though.
That bit's
he does his
brilliant.
little Ewok part back to Star Wars, where he's flying around and he starts throwing things, but they're not rocks, it's snakes.
Before, there were snakes on a plane, there were snakes on a gyrocopter.
This is it. Which Indiana Jones film is it where he's got the snake in the plane?
Raiders.
It's Raiders,
Oh,
it's
it's
the same,
Raiders.
yeah.
There's a big snake in the plane, Jack.
Oh, there's one thing I
hate
can't do. I hate snakes.
That's just my pet wedgie. That's so funny that it's called Reggie or Wedgie, like
Wedge, Star Wars. No, we can't keep going
We're
back
going
to
Star Wars, everything's Star
Right,
Wars.
I'm going to round off my final point was that, like, when Gyro Man comes down and, like, yes, he knows he's been kind of duped, he doesn't act like he's been duped. He doesn't feel like he's been duped. He's just glad. Mad Max is just glad that they've got away.
It's
and he
weird
did
though
his bit.
because the guys in the right, this
not a
kind of
minibus.
doesn't make sense. It's a school bus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. They come and get the gyrocopter man.
Well, they must do, because...
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, because his gyrocopter still flies.
There's a point where it stops flying, but he's just driving it across the ground.
It doesn't. It drives because it's got the big propeller
it's
on
got
the
the
back.
back.
I think
Yeah.
they catch them up.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's
though,
never
isn't
explained
it?
that part. It's never
That
explained.
doesn't really make
You
any
see him,
sense.
he picks up Mel Gibson,
'Cause
and then
it's-
it goes. The voiceover kicks back in, and it's like, he became our chief. This happened. We moved to the sandy
course.
sea beach place,
San
and
Diego.
all was great. And it shows you that they have all the fuel in the back of the bus. And it's
Yeah.
like, that man, that road warrior, I never saw him again. And it just shows you him sort of stood
there, yeah.
against like that classic sort of hero backdrop
Yeah,
of like
Yeah.
with that
the
space,
outback.
the car we don't mention.
Yes.
There's a big, long, space-age looking science fiction car. He has that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he's got a car. He's
Well,
got
that
fuel.
wasn't that the leader of
the leader's car. Yeah,
And who's the narrator?
it's a little
It's the
feral
little
kid.
feral boy.
It's the feral pie!
Yeah. So that was Mad Max 2.
Tune in next week when we return to our regular...
Right. So yeah.
But
so
yeah, awesome film.
it's a really
It's
good.
so good. Do we do a mop-up now? Has anyone got any reoccurring...
To be honest,
Did you enjoy it that much?
one.
Yes,
Yeah,
I did.
we need to wipe the floor. One of the things that I wanted to say that we've not touched on actually is how beautiful it is.
Film. It looks
yeah.
amazing.
Because it's all obviously shot on location in the outback, and some of the stuff I think they've done some colour treatment on certain parts.
Definitely.
Yeah, some of the skies.
You don't know actually, because obviously the ground's sort of an orangey red there, so
Just
the ground
looks-
might
There's a
reflect
few
red.
shots, like the last shot of Mad Max when he stood.
And it's
And
got
it's
that
just
sort
this
of
purpley
purpley
sky.
red sky, hasn't it?
Yes.
But
yeah.
you don't know though, because
That's what I mean. You don't know what the skies are like there.
It's true. It feels like colour
It does
treated.
feel-
Well, it looks awesome. Like some of the sweeping shots of even the camp, when you look in the background, you can just see for miles. It's just flat, and then there's like little mountains in the background. You're like, it couldn't be like you couldn't ask for a better backdrop.
You're right. I mean, there's a couple of things that that are worth mentioning. There is that the landscape and the setting that they chose suits. It lends itself to that.
Apocalyptic
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
and also the kind of like having watched it widescreen full, like,
Yeah.
which I never would have, even if I did ever.
I
see
didn't
it.
like watch it widescreen until now.
Did you
Yeah.
notice? I don't know if it's just the way it's been converted afterwards. That it started out in 4:3.
You know, that's how it
That's,
is.
yeah, that's. I
Oh,
know.
that's it.
I know that
Because
much,
the-
yeah.
The Mad Max titles come up and it's all in a box because you
Yeah.
can see the edges.
Because all the stock footage is off.
Oh yeah, it is
All the
old
time,
war
all the
yeah,
stuff
it's
is
old
war
war reels.
footage and-
So
yeah.
it's all to that ratio.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
nice.
like a Pathé Cinema sort
Yes.
of public service sort of style to
Yeah,
it,
it's like
isn't
the
it? Yeah,
flickery
which is 4:3.
montage thing, yeah.
I've got a question for Lee.
Okay, I'll sit this one out.
That's okay. I thought I'd seen it, but I hadn't. So you definitely had seen it, and you've said yourself you would never have seen it in widescreen then. So you got your Blu-ray, which you kindly lent to us, and you watched it for the first time in proper full widescreen.
Yeah.
What do you think? For me, like,
It's a really good looking film.
I had to imagine what it would have been like watching it without one, but for me it was really impressive.
Well, it's like, again, kind of the big vistas. Again,
That's
like a
word
western.
I wrote down, vistas.
Do you know what I mean? It's total
Yeah.
western.
Yeah.
Like the whole kind of desert landscape, everything about it. Lone stranger, doesn't say, like, say 16 lines in the whole film.
Yeah.
Total, like, Clint Eastwood.
I was going to say,
Do you know?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Like, you got a guy with a massive revolver shooting, you know what I mean? Revolvers,
Yeah.
westerns,
Yes.
everything like his
Those
western.
low down bonnet shots streaming across the road there in the widescreen.
That looks
just
amazing.
looked brilliant.
The sounds as well, actually.
Yeah.
The car sounds as
The
well.
soundtrack was good.
I just mean the sounds in general instead of the Foley stuff.
I'm including
They
that.
talk about his car, don't they? Saying, "Oh, it's one of the last V8s
Yeah.
Yeah.
out there." And then when you hear him driving around, it's proper just.
Oh, that's the thing that's so
Sounds
annoying
so
about it.
nice.
It gets fucked over. Like, it gets destroyed. And it's just like,
Yeah.
that's like.
Cars the Star.
Well, it's not even that. Like, in the context of the film, right, that's like the last pristine, beautiful engine.
Yeah.
That's like in a world with no art, someone getting the Mona Lisa and doing a shit on it.
Yeah, in that world. Yeah,
But
completely.
this harks back to quick. I'll get this point, and then we're pretty much done. But
Good point, Matt. Make it a good one.
yeah, well, yeah. Well,
Silence.
All it is, it ties back to the beginning when we said that in the first film he was a traffic cop, and the car from the first one is what he drives in this. And they say that one character in it, I think it's the guy with no legs, says to him, "Oh, it's the last one of the V8 Interceptors."
Yeah.
Yes.
And that
Yeah,
it's the last
Interceptors.
police car, like
Yeah.
the last traffic.
Yeah.
It's the last one, and then it gets blown up.
So
That's it. It's gone.
Like, it's almost like an end of a law, a society, a representation of like
Yeah.
some honesty and truth within
It's truly
that
mad
world.
now.
Yeah, now it is truly mad, but he takes on a different role. He almost sort of leaves behind some kind of element of his last life to it. I mean,
what's interesting, there's something that's actually quite we've not touched on, but at the end, how Mad Max normally comes out the lorry at the end,
Yeah.
and the gyrocopter man comes over,
Mm-hmm.
and Max smiles at him.
yes.
Is it the first time he
It's
smiles?
the only time he smiles in the film.
Oh God, I didn't even pick up on
Right, and he's lost everything, but he smiled for the first time.
He's lost
Almost
everything, but gained a friend.
What's happened in the what he lost and everything he's lost? He's gone through so much badness that he's refound his humanity at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's the story, isn't it? He's a broken man, and he finds a reason to smile.
Yeah, it's almost like a rebirth of his sort of life.
And he's done something selfless.
Rebirth.
He didn't realise
That's
it was
a bloody
selfless.
religious theme there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's done something that's like meant that all these people can
Carry
kind
on.
of. He's saved this little society, so he's kind of the fact that he's done something in a world that he thought had no hope. That he's helped people do something good.
Yeah.
I think what you've said there is brilliant, and it does sum up a lot of what the film is. And I think we've covered a lot of it. You've got this, just to recap, I suppose, but in terms of what I really liked about it, you've got this kind of like live action thing, or not live action. You've got these real action stunts.
In
You've
camera
got-
stunt work.
Yeah, you've got this Western thing. You've got these really strong themes. You've got these religious iconography that is throughout. It's entrenched within it. There's some kind of good comedy scenes. The atmosphere within the whole film is mad, and that is well done. Do we get to a point now where we scored the last film? We did. We scored Commando.
What did we give it?
It was out of 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, we gave it a score out of
Probably
5, and I think we gave it quite a high score.
Got 4, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it did.
See, again, right, I'm going to give this a 4.
Yeah. But we picked these films because we love them.
Right, the thing is, though, right, this is a better film than Commando.
Yeah.
I might have given it the same score just because Commando is like, I've got an affection for it. Whereas this, like, I'm giving it 4 stars because it deserves that amount.
Yeah, I suppose it sort of points out how arbitrary it is to give something a score.
I mean, you can hear by what we say how much we like the film.
Yeah, and within its context, I think. So you're going 4 out of 5. Matthew?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
5, fuck it. Yeah.
5.
5 out of 5. I loved it. It was brilliant.
Wow.
I've just remembered a bit when I said 5, and that's why I went quiet. There's an awesome special effect bit when he first finds that truck, and he opens the door, and this gross old body falls out.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it reminded me of the bit in Jaws, do you know, when they find the boat wrecked and
God,
the head floats out. So, yeah, I thought it was great at 5.
Well, that leads to me, and brilliant, almost sort of, no, not tedious at all, brilliant link in there, because I've written a note down for that particular part of the film that I didn't bring up, which for me sums up the film in a way, because that body drops out nearly on him. He doesn't flinch, he's completely unfazed by it. This is a world where death is surrounding him.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Most, most people in the world at this point are dead.
Yeah, they must be. So how does that relate to my score? Not at all. But it was a tedious link. So my score for this is... Oh, God. 5. 5.
It's done well, this one.
I'm going to 5. The budget, how brilliant it is, the atmosphere, the acting is alright.
Stunts.
But, the stunts, just...
It's a really, really good film.
It's brilliant.
5. I'd like to give it a 5, but no, it's a 4. It's brilliant. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know, but I'd love to give it 5, but I just can't quite give it a 5. If it was doing it in 4.5s, I'd do that, but we can't.
I wanted to give it a 4.5, but I felt more towards the 5.
Yeah.
But also, I think you guys saw it for the first time, so you got the wow factor.
Yeah,
and I'm used to it. I've seen it about 5 times now.
We are riding the cusp of that.
High.
Yeah,
so
there was a high there.
We come at it from a slightly different perspective.
Yeah.
I suppose it's good, though.
Yeah, it is good.
It gives a variety.
It's a film that you've got to have seen. We hope you have already watched it before listening to this, because it's just so much more
And
fun.
if you haven't,
if you haven't, like me and Carl
watch
had it.
Yeah, just watch it. Or if you're like me and you thought you'd seen it, but at the end of this podcast you realised you hadn't, then
Go and watch it.
Go and watch it. So, we've been the Ducking Review Show, and this has been Retro Duck. Again, you can get in touch with us at duckingpod. You can email in at duckingpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
bye.
Quack, quack.